दही बड़ा खाने का मन है।
वाह क्या स्वाद!
असली स्वाद तो MDH दही बड़ा रायता मसाले से ही आता है।
Okay, so the headline, Shawan, is that Operation Sindoor is on. Combat operations continue. Combat situation continues. Rhythm Anand Bhardwaj and Shawan will be with me through this. Deepak Vora Saab, great to have you with us again. Rabinder Sachdev is with us. General G.D. Bakshi is also with us this evening, ladies and gentlemen. And we have Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor also with us, ladies and gentlemen, this evening. So we are very well placed with our guest list. And we also have with us General SVP Singh. Thank you very much. General Bakshi, you heard the press conference. First of all, I must say it's very reassuring, very strong, and very clear. So all this talk about ceasefire ho gaya, sab kuch khatam ho gaya, everything is on is rubbish. That the Americans have mediated the Indians to pull back is also rubbish. We have not pulled back. We had said, okay, we won't carry out firing for a while. We won't be hostile for a while. But after the ceasefire violations yesterday, it's pretty much back to square one. We have the gun on their head, and should they move or try to misbehave, we are going to fire back and hit back twice as hard. As the Prime Minister said, wo goli marenge, ab gola maro. And the graphics said it's clear. Let's run the graphics. Hit them hard, hit them hardest, teach them a lesson. So I think all those who were disappointed yesterday, that there was a pullback, there was a tame, sort of a tepid pullback under American pressure, it may appear that way, but you can't go by what Trump says, you have to go by what our government says. So, General Bakshi, your first response, sir.
My first response is that I'm very glad standard operating procedures are back in place. We are not doing war by algebra anymore. When I was in the Military Operations Directorate, operations were handled by the Ministry of Defense, right? And we came directly under them, and when the briefings were done, Directorate General Military Operations, Air Force Ops, Naval Ops, they used to all come together and brief us on the military operations.
Correct.
Right? It is very reassuring to hear the hands-on people. It sends a very good message to the country. That was all my limited message. I'm glad it has now been put in place. The difference would be felt in Pakistan. देखिए ये Pakistan में unfortunately the civilians are not ruling. It is the Fauji's, you know, and the Fauji's,
keep changing below.
They understand the language of the Fauji.
Yes, sir.
I think every word has been registered in Pakistan now, and they'll nod sagely. You know, the problem is, Arnab, that, you know, Pakistan, after they got kicked, went crying to the whole world, crying to, you know, even Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, save us. Marco Rubio spoke to Asim Munir, I'm told, right? And then they said, he told, you know, Marco Rubio said, he asked, what do I have to do? He said, speak to their DGMO. So their DGMO spoke to our DGMO. Our DGMO said, okay, I'll ask my government, get my orders, get back to you, right? So then we, you know, it was felt that, okay, they seem to have had enough. You know, they seem to have had enough. Okay, let them off the hook this time.
Change on the visual.
So we gave them a ceasefire. Half an hour after the ceasefire is announced,
yes,
they hit us not in one place, Arnab, which could be accidental, which could be a local hothead, which could be a drunk commander. You know, there are like that, people like that in the Pakistani army. It was from Kashmir to Bhuj.
Yeah.
They opened up the front, they started firing. So it was not accidental. It was very deliberate, very measured provocation, right? Now what do you expect us to do? You expect us to lick it and, you know, slink our tails between our legs and go off? You see, the simple fact is, you know, Arnab, please see the YouTube. We let them off the hook because they begged. You know, in London, they are holding demonstrations, waving the Pakistani flag. We won, we won, we won. Oh, that's news to me. Aap jeet gaye. I think we'll have to show you who won. Because it's getting a bit too much of a joke.
I tell you this is a joke.
Pit gaye ho, you are trying to show sang-froid.
We won, we relieved.
Look, I'll say this to Asim Munir as a soldier. don't drink so much whiskey.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Don't drink
As
so
we
much
call him,
whiskey.
Chachu Whiskey. We call him Chachu Whiskey.
Your predecessor, his predecessor, Yahya Khan, was drunk on
Yahya
the day
was
they
drunk.
were
That's
surrendering. And he was saying, we'll fight on for years. Don't drink and drive.
You know, I just
Don't drink and
before I move ahead, I did this reference to
Take
this
your
visual.
country for a crash.
What is the visual you are seeing? Visual, there are 15 jump cuts or edits in the speech of Shahbaz Sharif. Something very dangerous is happening to him. Either he's in hostage, or either he's in custody, or he's in home arrest. But he was looking to the left and right, and this was 15 edits in his speech put out on Pakistan television yesterday at 11:30. Is very, 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 very unusual. Ladies and gentlemen, I now would like Shravan to show the state of operational readiness with the visuals we got from the Navy. These were not released before. Full frame, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Shravan will now tell us about the visuals which we are now seeing. This is very, very important, the visuals we are seeing. Can we run the right visuals, please? Not these visuals. I am leading on to the Navy visuals. Thank you. I'll go to that later. You know, my production team has a mind of its own. Can we play the Navy pictures, please? Because I said, if you put the ambience up in the PCR, you'll hear us. What are these visuals? Shravan, what are these visuals which have just been released? Latest visuals released by Navy. Latest Navy visuals released. Yeah.
In fact, this is the untold story. And
yes,
the most interesting bit is on the night of 8th, remember, we were reporting saying that aggressive posturing was done by the Indian Navy.
I remember you saying that, Shravan.
And this is exactly the aggressive posturing that has been done. And let me now explain this. What are we really looking at?
Shravan,
We're looking at a reconnaissance aircraft. What you see on your screens right now, this was the firing that was done off the BrahMos. Now, this was the message that we were sending across, that we have locked Karachi.
Yeah.
The positioning that we did thereafter, 3 of our submarines were basically moving towards closer to the port areas. On your screens right now, this was the reconnaissance P-8I, Poseidon Boeing aircraft that the Navy basically uses for reconnaissance to basically look at what are the operational details, or the fact that this was giving us real-time updates as to how Pakistan was basically retreating. Because the way we were moving in a aggressive posturing, Navy at that point in time had sent a message that we will open fire if need be. Here you see the most glorious warship that India has.
INS
Vikrant. From here, we were all ready to even use our best of fighter jets from this aircraft that you see. And interestingly, this is the big news. We had also mobilized our fleet from the Eastern Command too. It had moved towards the western side, and then in a short while from now, you will see the frigates, the destroyers all lined up. The very next image will actually show you the best ever image of Operation Sindoor, where you see our destroyers moving towards. That's the mobilization, the full mobilization that the Indian Navy had done. The untold story is out.
The point here, Rhythm, is that there has been no pullback yet.
Absolutely.
Right? You heard the press conference. As an experienced veteran journalist, what would you say is the sum total of what you drew from that big press conference today?
I think, Arnab, one of the first times, in fact, the first time ever we are seeing a spectacular press conference, unprecedented, when when we are seeing three service chiefs sitting there, along with the DGMO. All of them come prepared. There are pictures behind. This is almost the way the Pakistan should actually learn how pictures and proof is being given. This is the new India. It started off with the Shiv Tandav. They started off by saying, this is new India. We have literally shown pictures of every destroyed Pakistan airbase. We then showed, like Shravan was telling us, India dominated the maritime space. Forces were ready to hit Karachi. Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod, DG Naval Operations of the Indian Navy, very clearly said this.
Now, Rhythm, in this comes another twist now, which we broke this morning, which is the nuclear twist. Rabinder Sachdev, I would like to draw you in on this. We know that on the 10th of May, the Pakistan Air Force bases were hit. And this morning, Republic broke the news, you were there, that we have confirmed usage of the BrahMos A supersonic Mach 3 cruise missiles, and the fact that we directly hit Chaklala near Rawalpindi. We struck their strategic bases, Jacobabad, Bolari, Skardu, and there were deep intelligence assessments. there is some word going around that we already hit their nuclear sites. And some people are saying, oh, there are checks out there that India has hit the nuclear strikes. But what my information is, and Shawan, I can tell you this, that they feared an attack on their nuclear installations, right?
They did.
We're not
And
yet.
Shehbaz Sharif called for the National Command Authority. That's the grouping which looks after the command asset, the nuclear command asset. That's the reason why when the intel here we picked up, the chatter was that they were afraid that we are hitting the command assets. And that's when they ran to United States.
That's when they ran the panic button. So they were, we were going to do it anyway. We would have done it. I mean, if they push us anymore.
If we have already hit Sargodha, it is a clear message of where we were going next.
If you hit Sargodha, you can hit Kathua next. You can hit any nuclear installation in Pakistan. And the way the Modi government thinks, we won't care two hoots about it to do it if they hurt our interests. Ravinder Sachdev, please.
No, absolutely, sir. And you know what? Not only did they play up the bogey of a nuclear war and run to the Western capitals, in addition, they put forth a devious logic also. They said if India does this, then our nuclear arsenal, we cannot guarantee that we can have the security of it. It will spread through the region. Yeah, I mean, that's what that was the argument they were using. And that's what, further kind of, brought the seriousness to even the Saudis and the Emirates.
Yeah.
Because with them, this whole, Islamic radicals moving around these fields with dirty bombs is a scary scenario. And Pakistan played up that bogey.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to therefore assess the situation as it then developed. As I said this morning, Pakistan then reached out to the United States, help us. Then United States contacted us. We said, listen, we can't talk through you. And I think that's the best thing, Deepak Vora, that we did. We said, thank you, America. But if the Pakistanis want our help, they call us directly. We decide whether we want to help them or not. We set the conditions. There has been no third-party mediation, as a section of some people here in India are trying to insinuate. Can Rahul Gandhi just keep quiet, not talk about things that are above his pay grade? The question is very simply here. Pakistan reaches out to America. US are in some kind of a soft contact. Nuclear threat is the issue which they put. The Islamabad tells Washington, we are under nuclear threat. They will hit us in the nuclear assets. And then US says, India has told us you contact them through the hotline. And then General Kashif Abdullah, who is the DGMO of Pakistan, calls up Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, our DGMO. And then he says, okay, we will. But then that is the situation. So they literally begged us. Secondly, the Americans didn't force anything on us.
No. Sir, did you notice the shift? Earlier they were saying that each one of their ministers was saber-rattling, saying, we've got nuclear weapons.
They were.
And then now it shifted that if something happens, our nuclear weapons will go off to these radical Islamic groups who are going to threaten the rest of the world. There's a shift in their position. From threatening us, they are threatening the entire region, that our nuclear weapons will then be let loose to the highest bidder. So there's one more thing which was fascinating, and if you give me a moment.
Shawan, take it.
Sorry, this is for the naval thing that you were talking about.
Yeah.
The DGMO, the Director General Naval Operations, said they wanted permission and that was declined.
Yes.
So what happens now, sir? I mean, you know it better than I do. The continental shelf, as you know, the territorial waters are about 18 kilometers from the continental shelf. Aapka samundar ka tat hota hai 18 kilometers. That you get innocent passage to ships, etc. The seabed below that and the air above that is the country's property. But once we give a notice that we will be monitoring hostile activity, hostile ships, we have the right to board them. So, मुझे ये बताओ, पाकिस्तान का तेल कहाँ से आएगा? Where the bhojan where will it come from? They have 2 days of oil. 2 days, sir. कहाँ से आएगा ये? If we decide to board ships and say, don't come, you are hostile.
Yeah, Shawan.
The Vice Admiral also said that if Pakistan attacks, then they know what is coming. That was the final message, the warning message that our Vice Admiral had to send across to Pakistan by showing these images tonight.
The simple point is, Shawan, that if Pakistan had any confidence in their ability, then why did they panic? That is the point we need to highlight here, right? They were under a level of threat they've not faced before. General Bakshi, you want to come in on that? Yes, General Bakshi.
Yes, Arnab, the simple fact is that the normal way we fight wars in this country, as per our combined joint doctrine, the Air Force gains air superiority, opens the skies, and then the Army and the Navy go in for the kill. That is how it was in 71, and should Pakistan want a repeat performance, that is precisely how it will be. Our Air Force has set the stage for us. They've clobbered the Pakistani Air Force. The Pakistani Air Force has no doubts. If Mullah Munir has a doubts when he gets another peg of whiskey, I think the Pakistani Air
No,
Chief
but they were panicked. They were panicked, General Bakshi. I got to go to General Dayal and Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor now, because they knew we will hit another round of strikes, and this time we will hit their energy, economic and deeper strategic infrastructure. We have called off their nuclear bluff. This is the best thing we have done. We have said, forget your nuclear bluff. We'll blow out your nuclear bases if required. We'll finish off your nuclear damn thing once and for all. That's what the Pakistanis are worried about. They have no cards left anymore. General Dayal.
Arnab, we have created, actually, see, numbers don't matter, but we have given 3-4 very strong signals to the Pakistanis as well as to the global community. Firstly, that our counter will not remain limited to launch pads in occupied Kashmir, or eliminating terrorists in our home, or eliminating overground workers. We will reach out to wherever in Pakistan the terrorist camps are there, wherever their headquarters are there, wherever their akas are there, or their promoters are there, including the armed forces if they continue to do that. Secondly, we have given a very clear-cut message that, look, what we have been talking, people, General Bakshi, self, a number of us, that militarily we are very, very superior to Pakistan. That our military power, that Pakistan is no stand. And he will never fight a conventional war with you. So this message is amply clear. Moment we struck on the night of 7th, 8th morning onwards, Pakistan was begging either Saudi Arabia or UAE or America to give him a window to escape out of this. And it took 3-4 days and they escaped out of it. Another message we have sent is that, look, we are so superior in Navy, so superior in our naval power, that we can blockade you completely and destroy your entire coastline and interior from coastline. Arnab, he only has a 400-kilometer depth. So we can hit him anywhere, everywhere in Pakistan with air and with naval assets. And thirdly, that after this, if the military power is exercised by the land forces, then probably there'll be no Pakistan state left.
Okay, I have a breaking news input.
Community.
I have a breaking news input from Shawan. Shawan, what do you have?
There's some speculative firing that Pakistan Army is essentially doing now in Akhnur and Naushera, which is an indication, speculative firing, which means that you are basically providing cover. And this, as the DGMO also pointed out, that
these are the infiltration routes.
Yes, these are the infiltration routes in Akhnur and Naushera. So there has been some speculative firing.
Which means for a second night they are trying to violate the ceasefire.
There is no ceasefire for them.
There is no ceasefire. But clearly, I mean, they are violating what we had told them since yesterday. There was open violation of quote unquote, mutual agreement to stop hostilities, whatever you call it. I don't know the phrasing for it, even if you don't call it ceasefire. But that lasted from about 1500 hours. It broke within an hour. And then there was an attempt at bringing back a quasi-ceasefire situation. 10:30 p.m., second night, Pakistan is breaking the rules. It's over. We are back to combat. I mean, there is no other way. There is no other way but to say it as it is. The Indian Army is back in a very strong combat situation, and as Lieutenant General DG Rajiv Ghai said very clearly, that we are totally determined to fire back twice as hard. Now, let's get back, General Bakshi, on this. I'll just come to the others in a minute. No, let's get General Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor. He hasn't come in yet. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, the present situation right now, how alive is it? How alive is the present situation, sir, from a military perspective?
See, Arnab, in the annals of aviation history, this would be a chapter on air power, what has happened on the 10th morning. In 90 minutes flat, 11 airfields were taken out. To my knowledge, in the complete aviation history, it has never happened. And this would be taught in the books about once it is declassified, how to plan and execute an operation like this. That is the relevance of the strike. Second, the narrative which the West has webbed and stored, there is no mention of any such things what has been shown by the DG Air Ops in his operations or in his briefing today. The West, especially the Americans and the Chinese and the NATOs, do not want the world to know that the Russian and the Indian weapons were able to take out their aeroplanes and equipment, because this is a market which they will lose. So this is my second point which I have to make. The third point is that the narrative which they have, webbed to their own masses that they have won. The briefing given by the 3 Pak officers, the press brief yesterday, and what General Bakshi was just mentioning, the triumph and the other things which they always web around the people after every conflict that they have won. And the briefing by the prime ministers indicates something, totally. And they have been doing it for the last 70 plus years, selling fake narratives. I hope in the age of social media, the Pakistanis get to learn the facts.
So, but when the BrahMos struck these targets, was it a
the DG Air Ops did not confirm the usage.
No, DG Air Ops would not.
But
we have enough information with us, between Shravan and me, that we are absolutely clear about the usage of the BrahMos today. And in fact, there was no, sir. Even in the press conference, there was a speech by Yogi Adityanath today, and there was a speech by Rajnath Singh, and there was enough allusions to the use of the BrahMos, because Yogi Adityanath said the Pakistanis now know how good the BrahMos is. So I think we have it as clear as.
So what I was saying, that our indigenous weapons are making a difference. The Russian equipment which we have are making a difference. So the West doesn't like it in any way.
Yeah.
And the last point I wish to make is, I was just seeing on the social media, on Twitter and other handles, that 3 of the US NNSA aircraft, that is the nuclear incident responsibility teams, are flying around Islamabad, Rawalpindi. They have overflown Sargodha and Kirana. This is basically to detect radioactivity. So probably,
for what reason? I mean, would this mean any of the nuclear sites have been hit?
See, this is a Beach King 350 ER aircraft, which the American agency has, and these aircrafts have been sighted over Pakistan today. I just saw it on Twitter a little while ago with pictures and flight radar indications. And I have no other means other than...
So we can't take that as an authenticated fact here right now. We can't take that. It will not be appropriate to take that.
There may be some truth that they are wanting to check if there has...
Anyway, for the broad picture, for all viewers to understand, and I will say this repeatedly, General Singh, it is not over. You know, this whole social media conversation yesterday, we are so furious, have we been pulled back, have we declared our innings? We have not done that. We have given some opportunity to them. But given the way they are behaving, we have said we are in a combat situation. General Singh.
Tell them to take my comment.
Absolutely, Arnab.
You use.
Absolutely. Pakistan has tried to act smart, but we are the smarter lot. That is the message. Not a ceasefire, a pause. A pause we have announced to the whole world. It is on our own terms. You do anything, we will escalate. And we will escalate with punitive, prohibitive destruction on Pakistan. That's the message. So this period, if Pakistan wants to use for its own logistics build-up and sidestepping, whatever it wants to do, he is sadly mistaken, because he doesn't have the resources to do it. Whereas India right now, this period, is reframing to retaliate.
Shravan will show pictures. Camera 3. Yeah, Shravan would like to display some pictures.
The fear here is that if at all Pakistan basically gets any time, they will regroup, because this is, look at what is happening. Here, these are the terrorist camps that we had basically destroyed.
Hold them up straight, please. Yeah.
These are the terrorist camps that we have destroyed, and we've just got pictures from the army of what was found. They have essentially seen that these terror camps were now being used by the Pakistan army firing at us, at the Indian posts. And the fact here is this, that this period, if we stop, if we do not act, then they will try and regroup. Because I'm told that as far as the airbase in Nurkhan, they have shut it. They're saying that we are repairing it, operational.
Did they see, a question here, please, a military question I want to put across. Did Pakistan cry foul to end, did they pull out a different kind of nuclear card this time? Not the card that they will use a bomb.
Yeah.
But did they pull out a card, Commodore GJ saying, that does it appear to you they have pulled out a card saying, India is going to hit our nuclear installations, we are going to be finished? And that probably got the Americans to respond.
Yes.
Or what do you, they probably realized, because, you know, I've been thinking of this. GJ, can we go to everyone on, please? I'm speaking to him. The question is...
I will just add to it what you said.
Yes.
You see, we have to take into account the impact that we have made on Pakistan military is the silent and the invisible to media impact of the silent service Indian Navy. Indian Navy today is empowered the two operational nuclear ballistic missile submarines, SSBNs, INS Arihant and INS Arigat.
Yeah.
So these two submarines which are underwater, we do not know the location.
Yeah.
As the DGMO Navy was mentioning today that we commanded complete dominance on our western seaboard in the Arabian Sea, which sent a very strong message and mileage to the blue waters of the Navy, like Americans and Russians and especially the British Royal Navy and the other navies, that look, we are now dominant in the IOR, Indian Ocean region.
Very strong.
And this is something which did factor into Pakistan's whole establishment. I'm talking about when I look at the larger picture, that out here you have a nuclear-powered Indian Navy as well. And we can strike, we can launch those ballistic missiles to anywhere on their...
we can lock the whole of their coastline, but the choice, we can just see therefore, just to again go back, because I don't want this to become very technical rhythm, there were some words used. And I want you to repeat the words for those who did not see the press conference. However, I believe it was such a brilliant press conference that Republic will broadcast the whole press conference, and you should sit there with your family and watch this press conference tonight, because it will tell you the real picture, national interest. The whole news conference will be shown by Republic tonight. Rhythm, what were those words? Can you briefly tell us?
Sure. It started off by, of course, the Shiv Tandav, like you were talking about, and then they started off by saying India's response is going to be fierce and punitive if yesterday's arrangement of ceasefire is violated. India achieved its target of striking terrorist camps in
But he said we'll watch tonight, something
and the exact words have also been, yes, they've said we will wait tonight, response will be punitive.
We will wait tonight, which means night on night. Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor,
earlier
they're
it was
living
adequate response, appropriate response.
Now
it's
punitive response, fierce response.
There's a bit of an additional information that we also have, because the Chief of Army Staff had a meeting with the Army commanders earlier
and he
today,
gave them...
And he said that you don't have to really come back to me. You decide. The Army commanders
What does that...
below,
what happens?
that means they have delegated, and it's the Army commanders that will decide. The moment there is another violation, they will respond.
Quicker, immediate response. And that'll be very fast. Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, please. I mean, I want in layman terms, just if you can explain, what do you think this means, overall picture?
The present situation is that we are totally deployed, ready, and in case of any misadventure, it's going to be taken to the next level.
Yeah, I want to say this before I wrap this segment up. I go to General Bakshi, that we are grateful to all of you. Today, millions of people are watching Republic. I can have everyone. Millions of people are watching Republic every second. Hundreds of thousands of people coming into our live streaming. I hope you know this is the widest streamed network in the world, the Republic Media Network. And billions of people have locked into our coverage. I'm grateful for that. I also want to share a statistic that 40% of our coverage, more than 40 to 50% of the streaming viewership is outside of India, which means a large global population is watching us, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm happy at what's happening. General Bakshi, I think the whole scenario has changed. This is a different kind of war. I do not want those who have done 1970s, 80s analysis to try and understand what's happening. Something very different is going on, sir, isn't it? Can you explain to all viewers tonight? People watching in their homes, General Bakshi, asking you, what next? What next, General Bakshi? What next?
So, what next? Pakistan takes the next move at its own extreme peril.
Yeah.
Let me tell you some remarkable things that have happened. Arnab, nuclear red lines of Pakistan have been destroyed. There was Lieutenant General Ahmad Kidwai of the Strategic Plans Division of Pakistan who had laid down 4 nuclear red lines. First was the space red line. In case the Indian Army goes in and goes in till Quetta or goes in deep. Second, if a large part of Pakistan military equipment is destroyed. Third, if we strangle them water-wise. We've just abrogated the Indus Water Treaty. And if we strangulate them economically, all these red lines have been violated with nix of a response. Nix of a response. That's number one. Number two, Arnab, the terror factory has been hit hard and is bleeding even as we watch. Number three, IWT, despite the cessation of so-called hostile actions, is still in full force abeyance. Pakistani military morale is in their boots, in their bloody boots. All right? Try and put a gloss on it and you will suffer. We'll break your bloody teeth. You know, to all those Pakistanis waving flags in London, we won, we won, we won. We will shove it up where the sun don't shine. All right? Don't smile. We'll break your teeth. Own capacities and capabilities are very much intact. Nothing has been damaged. S-400s are all there. You know, at the end of the war, you can count them. You know, all the Jaguars are still there. You can count them at the end of the war. Whenever that happens a few months later or whenever. All right? They've done not a scratch to us, damn you. You know, and our Air Force, I love that professional response of our Air Ops. You know, they said we are waiting to collect technical data before we announce how many of the Pakistani aircraft, etc., AWACS we've shot down. We've shot down. Of all the Pakistani Fateh 1s, Fateh 2, we have seen the bloody smithereens, right? And lastly, the LEC is hot and it has been a PR disaster for the Pakistani military industrial establishment. A disgrace, crying disgrace. Nobody will buy their weapons. Africans, Southeast Asians, come to us.
Okay, interesting input as I wrap up. Interesting input as I wrap up tonight, sir. Global Times of China, the word of China, the official mouthpiece of China has said, recently there's been a large amount of online information claiming that China's Y-20 strategic transport aircraft delivered relief supplies to Pakistan. In a statement on Sunday, the PLA Air Force refuted this information as false and said that this is completely wrong news and they'll take legal action against those who have this news. So China has been forced. China is officially denying they have helped Pakistan. Shehbaz Sharif, take a walk, get a life. I'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, the national mood. What is the mood among the people? What is your mood? We'll take a litmus test of that when I'm back in a few minutes tonight.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
लाल रंग इसका अपार, तीखा कम है फिर भी स्वाद, बेमिसाल बेमिसाल MDH कश्मीरी,
MDH कश्मीरी,
MDH